Hello everyone, watch this review here with a look at Bandai's D-Arts Mewtwo. Mewtwo is the first Pokemon in Bandai's D-Arts line, which previously has had a lot of Digimon characters. Although Mewtwo will very soon have company as Charizard releases in the near future, I think like a month from now. Blastoise is up for pre-order, and Venusaur will also be up for pre-order very, very soon. Now I absolutely love this packaging. It's got a very nice color scheme. A lot of purples and stuff, I guess also pinks. Very kind of in tune with Mewtwo's own sort of palette. And of course you'll also notice it has a lot of shiny elements, chromatics. Of course one of the coolest visually striking elements here is the fact they have this image of Mewtwo that just goes across two sides of the box. I always love that, it's such a neat effect. We also have tiny Mewtwo logos. This one's a little damaged, which kind of sucks. This one is a bit cleaner. And of course, given that the box is so cool, I'd probably just love to save it, but since it has windows on three sides of the package, here, and then on the top, it would look kind of strange just having a box there with a figure in it, and I figure once I take Mewtwo out, he's never going back in. Now, you've probably also noticed this little Mew sticker here. This refers to the pre-order or first run bonus, which is a little Mew figurine that comes in the package. I guess if they re-release or later runs of this figure won't include it. So it's both a collectible as well as the sticker itself is a collectible, because without the Mew figurine they won't have the sticker there, which is all kind of cool. At any rate, hold on a second and I'll get him out of pack. Here we have Mewtwo out of box. He stands a little over 5 inches tall, well, 5 inches to around here, then a little over to around here, and comes with, well, a few accessories, most of which you probably remember from the promotional materials. First off, let's take a look at Mew, the sort of first run bonus. Now this one is a lot smaller than other Mews we might have had in the past from other companies. And that's because they have the intention of sort of keeping the character in scale with Mewtwo, and as you recall, Mew was a lot smaller than Mewtwo. I don't think he was quite, or he, she, whatever, was quite this small, but I don't know, they probably have a better idea than I do. Now he also comes with an interchangeable hand with a little peg in it, which I assume is for holding Mew, because Mewtwo would hold Mew for some reason. It doesn't have anything to do with the sort of energy projectile, which at first I assumed was probably like Shadow Ball, but I don't know what this is. It's just some psychic attack like used in the Pokemon the first movie, or Mewtwo Strikes Back as it was called in Japan. A very cool looking item. It's purple. Well, it's translucent plastic, but it looks like they painted purple over for this section, and it's a lighter blue towards the ends of that, and at the very tips it's white, or clear through. Very neat. And finally we have the base / stand, which is a giant Pokemon, or giant Pokeball sign. It would be cool if they painted it in, but I can kind of understand why they didn't. He has a choice of two stands here. The first, I don't know what this is for. I assume it might just be a flight stand for Mew, meaning that if you do pick up a later release, it might not come with this, or not, I have no clue. It doesn't peg into the energy projectile, and it won't peg into Mewtwo anyplace, so it's a little confusing. The other flight stand is for Mewtwo, or stand. These two pieces hook into here, and it sort of will grab them around the waist or what have you. I didn't separate the piece from the blister, but you have to put that together before you can use it. At any rate, Mewtwo is pretty cool. Yeah. To give you some idea of scale, let's bring in first appearance Spider-Man. So, given that Mewtwo is a bit shorter than a human, I'd say it even works on a 6-inch scale, although I imagine it's probably set more for the 5-inch scale, where Mewtwo would just be slightly shorter than another person. But the use of color is pretty cool. You'll notice that there's a sort of gradient effect there with the flesh tone, where it's a deeper purple in some areas and it's almost white in other places. In the original game, I almost recall or at least in some of the original promotional materials, I almost recall the character being like pure white, but I guess in sort of follow-up appearances, he's always had more of a purple tone all about him. Very cool detail. Basically, this is the figure I wish I had, what's it been, like 15 years ago? Back in 1998 when the games first came out. Instead we just had these really crappy accessories and figures. But this, this is really awesome. He has articulate fingers, and then he has this really super articulate tail. It's got all these little segments here. I mean, look at that. The only sort of downside is the character can't really stand up on his own. I mean, you might be able to if you balance it just right, but half the time you will have at least part of the tail on the ground just to sort of even it out. Unless you're using the flight stand. But I guess it's probably not too bad. The facial detail is really neat. You can barely make out Mewtwo's mouth there. It's just a really thin line sculpted in. There's sort of no paint to sort of accentuate that effect. Also, if you notice, they have a sort of texturing here where, I don't know, he's got a sort of grainy effect, like the skin tone or whatever, or skin texture. Although mine has this sort of weird dent in his head, which I guess is probably just a factory defect. I tend to always find the figures that have the defects. Now, if you've noticed this thing here, the sort of, I don't even know what you'd call that, connecting Mewtwo's neck to his shoulder blades is this soft rubbery plastic, which ensures that, it won't break and it can display pretty well. Of course, if it goes too far, it'll just pop out, but it's much better than it possibly breaking. So I do like that quite a bit. Mewtwo's head is on a, and it almost feels like there's a ball joint underneath there, but it's hard to tell. It might just only rotate. But he has a neck joint at the lower portion, which has a much more generous range of movement. So we get some crazy posing there. He has an upper torso joint as well as a lower torso / waist joint. Not as much movement on the waist. Get a little rotation, a little forward back. It's mostly just the upper torso, which has this sort of crazy range of movement. Once again, very, very cool. We have a point, both shoulders are sort of ball jointed, so it's a bit hard to move just because you have the bicep joint right there and the shoulder blades are sort of blocking. And I half worry that I'm going to like snap something. You'll notice there's a bit of stress as I do this on the bicep. And other than that, I think the movement should be more or less fine. Just be careful with that. The bicep joint has some rotation. Then we have sort of a double pin or whatever here at the elbow. The wrists are physical balls. You can pop his hand off to put a new one in, or the replacement on. I think they'll go for either hand because you can't really tell which hand is which. I mean, Mewtwo's fingers all kind of look the same. The one sort of downside with this is even though it's got like these sort of up-down motion as well as allowing the sort of full range of rotation, you can't really get Mewtwo's hand to like sort of be up and like facing you. You'd have to move the arm as well. So a lot of Mewtwo's sort of cool poses for him just with his hand out, like stop hammer time or whatever, or talk to the hand, kind of. I mean, that's always because he's holding it out because he's going to use like a psychic attack or something. It's not just something for dramatic purposes. Down at the hip we have and it feels like a physical ball as well. Get some rotation. Then some nice other rotation. But you'll notice that you can sort of rotate the hip out a bit, and there's a bit of leeway there, so I assume you can move the joint up a bit as well. Then we have a ball socket here at the ankle. I don't know if that's an ankle. It's kind of a weird area. I guess maybe that's like a knee. Then down at the sort of foot / ankle we have a point of rotation. As far as I can tell, it's just rotation. But wow, this is a seriously cool figure, by the way. Be it fully articulate fingers. That. Isn't that awesome? But yeah, I mean, just a really absolutely great figure all around. He does have some limitations. He's not quite as cool as I thought he'd be, although, I mean, come on, this is really awesome still. Especially this fully segmented tail. I mean, that's more or less ideal for Mewtwo, given how often you saw the character just sort of moving his tail around. And I think that Bandai really sort of hit it out of the park with this one. Gotta get into a flying pose. If you do pick up one Pokemon D-Arts figure, or D-Arts Pokemon figure, I think Mewtwo's definitely a way to go. The other ones kind of don't benefit as much from the additional jointing. I mean, granted, Charizard doesn't suffer too much, although Charizard looks like he has fewer joints in his tail, which is weird, but a lot of the joints and stuff don't really do much for Venusaur and Blastoise, although I will be buying Blastoise. The other two I'll probably hold off on. But yeah, this has been a look at Bandai's D-Arts Mewtwo, which... oh, come on, this is cool. Until next time, folks.